The first time I saw him was at this meet when he came and nobody knew who the hell he was. I looked at those magic feet, and the next thing we knew was we were getting ready to go to Minnesota, and he'd gone to Pan Americans and won them faster than anybody had swam in a long, long time. I think he broke 101.
Some breaststrokers are more front wheel drive. He's definitely with back wheels, okay? He's got the tremendous legs, great legs, and he's using it to the fullest.
He has so much moxie for a swimmer. There's so much fight in him. You know, it's always interesting to me to see someone that's willing to stand out and say, I'm going to do something, and be willing to say it and put the pressure on himself, and then still be able to stand up in the blocks and be able to perform and get the job done.
Whenever I'm at a meet that he's at, I make sure that I tell my team, if they're not swimming in the breaststroke against him, that they're watching him, because that's how it should be done.
Just outstanding magic feet.
Ed's breaststroke is very, very consistent. He does not rush his stroke. He rides his stroke very well. He gets everything out of his kick. When his timing is on, it is absolutely perfection.
What I see in Ed is being so conscious about technique, every little detail of the stroke, and obviously he's got a great talent.
I do a lot of filming of athletes, and I travel around to a lot of clubs in the country. There's no other breaststroke I use to demonstrate skill underwater than Ed. I mean, Ed is probably one of the best athletes I've seen in breaststroke that gets his body lined up exactly right. I don't know how many national team athletes I've put on the screen along with Ed in a split screen format. I don't have to say anything. They just look at it and they say, wow. And they say, man, I really need to get lined up a lot better. I need to be a lot more like Ed.
Of course, history shows us that he was the first man to break a minute on a relay split and helped us to win the gold medal and break the world record.
Most world record holders look back on a long history of competition after reaching the pinnacle reserved for the best of the best. Not Ed Moses. Favoring golf clubs and a soccer ball, Ed carried a swimsuit only 3 months of the year until his senior year in high school. Then, within 1 year of accepting the challenge to take on senior training at the Curlberg Swim Club, Ed went from seasonal athlete to 15th in the world in the 100-meter breaststroke. The year was 1998, and the ride hasn't stopped. Ed's aggressive and thorough preparation defined him both in and out of the water. His constant push to perfection brings passion to his preparation. His core strength, flexibility, combined with a mind that demands to stay on the forefront of the learning curve of his sport, is what makes him a true champion. Breaststroke, according to Moses, is an in-depth look at Ed Moses, the person and the process that is his gold medal winning form.
You gave up swimming at 10 years old, took up golf, took up soccer. Not exactly the normal path to becoming the world's best. Can you say that there were some things that you picked up in your other sports that helped you to become world ranked?
I think it was just an overall athleticism that I had. When I stopped swimming, I did other sports, and I did them well. You know, I participated, like you said, in basketball, baseball, soccer, and it was just that drive that I had to be the best in whatever I'm doing to win. You know, whether that was out there playing all day or swimming all day. I didn't know what it was, but it was a combination of hating to lose and wanting to win at all costs.
How do you account for such a quick entry into year-round training and then going all the way to a professional level so quickly?
I think that step has to come from within. Again, we were talking about the process of how every day you're going to have to do what's right to make you better. And that's a multi-dimensional task in the sense that when I stand on the block and I'm racing and competing, I believe that the only way I'm going to be my best is that when I'm standing there, I believe that I've done every single thing possible that I could imagine or that anybody else does in the world or anybody else has thought of in the world, that I've done it or tried it to make me better. You know, whether that's my nutrition, whether my sleeping habits, flexibility, strength, aerobic capacity, everything. I'm trying to do every sense so that when I'm standing there, I'm confident that I've done more than any other person has done. And that goes along with training. You know, I don't just show up and attend practice because I'm supposed to be there. I'm looking at ways to make myself better. And I think that will help you rise from a standard level to a national level to Olympic level, always taking the next step by never thinking that you're doing everything.
Relate golf to fast swimming.
Well, golf is a mental game, just like swimming is. Oftentimes you find yourself, you're out there alone, and it takes a lot of focus, and there are a lot of distractions, but one thing you need to be able to do is to have your goal in mind and how you're going to get there. It's a process. You know, when you start from the tee to reach the green, there's a process. You know, starting from 30th in the world to get top in the world, there's a process. And you know, I wanted to follow that, and to follow that is a mental challenge.
Technique.
Perfection. There's a science, I believe, behind it. I'm not saying there's a technique for everyone, but there's a technique for each person. And that's what I'm trying to do, is find what technique is best for me. So I'm constantly changing and playing with my stroke to find out how I'm going to get from A to B the fastest and the least amount of energy. And that's what I think directly relates to my ultimate performance. So my technique is going to be different from the next person's, but again, we're looking what works perfect for me, and that's what I'm trying to get at.
Technology.
Incredibly advanced, especially in swimming, from video analysis to swimsuit technology. I don't think you can claim that swimming is advanced due to technology, but it has brought excitement to the sport. It's something that kind of keeps you pushing. You know, you always look to technology and science to make you better. I think that has to be part of the process. I think technology plays a huge role in swimming.
Music.
Hip-hop, upbeat, stuff that gets me going to accomplish what I want. Anything that just gets that blood going to make me want to pursue those daily goals.
Tell me about tattoos.
They all have meaning to me, and one thing that a tattoo is permanent. I want something in my life that is going to be there forever, and they represent things that I think till the day I die are important to me and what I believe as a person, so they're a big part of me.
Is that why this one says, I will do whatever my coach tells me to do? That's my favorite personally.
Ed Moses, great stroke. You can see him make that final push to the wall.
When I'm swimming fast breaststroke, mentally what I'm trying to picture is that I could almost get into a cross position with my body flat on the water and my arms at 180 degrees. And my next instant is when I go for my in-sweep, that my upper body and legs are going to follow a path over that point. Most of your weight is obviously in your core, and you're going to want to balance your core to feel that your legs and arms are just along for the ride and that they are just part of the stroke. The sense that I'm going through when I'm swimming breaststroke is that I want to be as long and have the least amount of drag possible, and I want to be as high on the surface as possible because this is obviously my fastest position in the stroke. Mentally, the image that I'm trying to get is that I want my body to come out and over the water with my hands below it after having a strong hold, and then immediately get into that long line position. So each time I want to replicate that, and our goal is, as fatigue sets in, we want to continue to replicate this as it would look in the beginning of the race compared to the end of the race. A visual that I try and reproduce is an anchoring of the legs and arms, and I'm just moving my body through those anchors. It's almost like if I were to have rings on the water that I would reach out and grab and pull my body through continually. And I want to do that at the least drag efficiency. I want to pull my body through the water and use the central part of my body as a strong aspect. Breathing has to be thought about, otherwise it becomes forced. You won't take your breath until you really realize you need it, and by that time you've gone into oxygen jet, and it's probably too late. The important thing I think with breathing is that you don't create your breathing pattern with your head. You have an opportunity to breathe every stroke, and that can't be created by moving your head back and forth to get it out of the water. You have to maintain the back of the neck, the back, and the knee line. You have to maintain that straight line So when I think of breathing, I'm going to be coming out over the water. You know, I'm not going to be looking forward, I'm going to be looking over my hands and getting that breath right as I come out of the water, and then returning back to that long line position that we're talking about. So there's no head movement bobbing up and down to get air, because again, that's going to cause my hips to sink behind it. For every action, there's a reaction. If I lift my head, my hips are going to sink and we're getting back to that plow position. So ideally, we're keeping that line together that we're always looking for. I like to repeat to myself, kick your hands forward. That gives me a sense of not lifting too high out of the water and plowing, but allowing my kick to push me over top of that anchoring position and return to that long line position. So that's what I'm really trying to think about when I'm swimming, is get over my hands with my kick and continue to do that in a full range of motion, start to finish in a race. The goal is always to maintain a small knee integrity where I'm only minimally allowing my knees to separate rather than in an outward position, which would cause more drag, and to have the maximum amount of ankle catch possible. And we mimic that through tons of drills, foot resistance in the water, any position that we can get in that would mimic that, even push it beyond what my normal kick would be, I think translates to the water. A lot of that's done through stretching, through surgical tubing, through drills, through vertical kicking. We do all these drills that force that issue so I can remember it, and it becomes a second nature to me when I swim full breaststroke.
Look at that stroke, nice and long. Take advantage of that strong kick he has.
The kicking aspect of breaststroke is the most important aspect. That's where you're going to maintain your long line with a lot of power behind you. The stronger your kick, the longer you're going to be able to stay in that position.